Hi, I'm Sowmya Shetty, and I teach at the School of Dentistry at UQ. I sort of fell in love with Padlet a couple of months ago and started using it for a few different things in my courses. One of the ways I used it was as a pre-lecture activity to sort of get students engaged. Basically, what I did was use the Padlet wall to upload a few articles and links to a couple of YouTube videos. They were then asked to discuss what they saw in 10 words or less. Now, the pre-lecture activity that they did was then sort of integrated into their actual lecture time, and we discussed what they'd already written, and so it was quite an engaging and it was quite an interesting session, shall I say? And from that point on, I've tried to sort of incorporate it in a lot of different ways. Another way I used it was as part of a case discussion session. So the students were given pictures on Padlet, and they were allowed to comment on certain pictures of cases. Yeah, and I have used it in class or in the lecture itself for students to engage in something that I'm teaching or to give us some feedback. I found that the benefit was more engagement from the students. For example, for the third year discussion that I had, which was pretty much the last lecture in that series, I actually had more attendance at the class. So obviously students were trying to figure out what was going on, and instead of slides, they had this Padlet wall that they could interact with, so they obviously loved it. At the end of that 1 hour, I did not have a single student sleeping in the class, which happens quite often, let me tell you. And also, the students weren't really looking at their watches to see if time was up. So in my opinion, there was more student engagement, and it also gave the students a bit of ownership to the material itself. Yep. Okay, so basically I went to this course at UQ that was called as a flipped classroom course. And that's pretty much where I got this whole idea for Padlet. And in fact, the first time I used it, I just pretty much stole the idea from the course convener who did that flipped classroom course. So she had gotten us to look at a couple of videos before we came in to describe what flipped classroom was. And we had to put a couple of words up on the Padlet wall. And that's what I did. But then I also used it as a in-class discussion wall as well as a case discussion thing. And also to get some differing viewpoints from different students on a particular aspect. So there was a nice little online discussion thing happening, but it was visible to everyone. Yeah, and I have used it for generating some interest on things like legal aspects of dentistry. So put up a world map and then get the students to figure out what the age of consent is for medical treatment in different countries. And having that map up there and students clicking on different countries to find out what the age is was pretty convincing for me, really, as a lecturer, that it was helping my students engage a bit more. And when I pointed out to different posts that they put up and asked them who put this up, there was no hesitation in the student's hand, going up and saying, oh yeah, I wrote that, and this is what I meant when I put that up. So yes, I find it's pretty engaging and allows my students to have a bit of deeper learning, really.